Dear Professor Kai, members of the panel and dear students, this TV interview of Professor Kai is being held ahead of the award ceremony for the Ramanujan mathematics contest taking place at the University of Mauritius in a couple of days, when Professor Kai will be delivering the memorial lecture. For those of you who may not be familiar with Ramanujan, I will say a few brief words about him. Ramanujan was born in 1887 in a poor Brahmin family in a village in South India. He was largely self-taught and is regarded as one of the greatest mathematicians of the 20th century. Although he did not have any university degree, nor any formal education in higher mathematics, he undertook original and prolific research in mathematics in isolation on his own, entering all his results carefully in what were called his two notebooks. Years later, while ill in bed before dying, he would make further startling discoveries, which he scribbled on loose sheets of paper. American mathematicians would later edit them into what was called the Lost Notebook. Ramanujan had become famous among local mathematicians before he caught the eyes of the famous Cambridge mathematician, Professor G.H. Hardy, who instantly recognized his genius. Ramanujan was invited to Cambridge, and where he went, and he worked alongside Hardy and his colleague, Professor Littlewood, for some 5 years. As I said, Ramanujan stayed in Cambridge for 5 years, of which the last 2 were marred by illness. He discovered over 4,000 new theorems and wrote some 32 papers of the highest quality, some in collaboration with Hardy. His work on partition was one of the highlights of his discoveries. Ramanujan died at the young age of 32, but the ideas he had left behind have reshaped mathematics in the 20th century and beyond. He became the first Indian to be awarded a BA degree by research from Cambridge and to be made a Fellow of Trinity College, Cambridge. He also achieved the rare distinction of becoming a Fellow of the Royal Society of London. Professor Kai, you have come a long way from China to join us for this 8th Ramanujan Mathematics Contest at the University of Mauritius, and we much appreciate this effort, and we thank you. However, it is with some trepidation that I'm introducing you to this audience. Why is this? Of the previous memorial lecturers that I have introduced here, for example, Professor Bruce Resnick from Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, Professor Krishna Aladi from Florida, USA, Professor George Andrews of Pennsylvania State University, USA, and lastly, Professor Imre Lieder of Trinity College, Cambridge. All have certainly been eminent mathematicians, but never declared any special interest in non-mathematical things. But you, sir, are much more complex. If you are surely a famous professor in mathematics with an interest in number theory at the prestigious University of Zhejiang, and you have published widely on mathematics, both papers and books, and you're widely respected abroad. You clearly have an interest in Ramanujan, as you have written a 30-page paper on him. However, your exploits in areas non-mathematical almost frighten me. You have published more than 30 books on poetry. You've translated all sorts of essays and other things. And your work has been translated in more than 20 languages. I could go on and on, But I will not steal the thunder of Dr. Tangman here, who will have a lot more to say in his introduction to you day after tomorrow. You have won several international poetry awards. So this is all truly awesome. So thank you for being willing to allow all of us here to benefit from your extraordinary experience by answering some questions from this audience. May I introduce the panelists? Dr. Yannick Tangman, Associate Professor of Mathematics and Dean, Faculty of Science, Trustee Srinivasa Ramanujan Trust Mauritius. His Excellency, Mr. Vayapuri, ex-Vice President of the Republic of Mauritius, Trustee Srinivasa Ramanujan Trust Mauritius. Dr. Preeti Nanku Gonpot, Associate Professor of Mathematics, and our dear students here who come from the University of Mauritius, the Royal College, the John Kennedy College, the Loreto College, and the QE College, as well as the Ramsundar Prayag SSS. Can I set the ball rolling, Professor Kai? You have written about mathematics as an art, echoing the great mathematician and philosopher Bertrand Russell at Cambridge in the 20th century. Can you elucidate?
The mathematics is composed of two parts. And one is pure mathematics. The other is applied mathematics. And in my opinion, the pure mathematics is art. Just like the language and the literature, the words, the literature is art, and the language is a tool to communicate. And it is compared with the applied mathematics. It's also a tool. So mathematics is composed of two parts. One is pure mathematics, is like art. And the other part, applied mathematics, is like a tool.
Yes, Professor Kai, you've had a long career as an academic mathematician. You have carried out research in diverse areas of mathematics, and you have published widely. What I would like to know is what attracted you to Ramanujan's work?
Thank you. It's a good question. The first India mathematician, greatest mathematician is Ayebono. He was born in the 7th century. And as I know, the first satellite of India named after him. And after him, there are 4 or 5 great Indian mathematicians until the 12th century. So from the 7th century to the 12th century, there's 4 or 5 greatest mathematicians in India. It's similar to in China. We also have 4 or 5 greatest mathematicians during that time. But later, Europe, made a great progress. And like Isaac Newton, like Descartes, many great mathematicians. But around like 7 centuries, in the Asian, we don't have a greatest mathematician. I think Ramanujan is the first one. After such a long time, then we have a great mathematician. So that's the main reason I'm interested in him. So I wrote about him in several books of mine. And also because he's also the genius. And his main interest is the same as me, the number theory. So of course I'm interested in it. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And Professor Kai, we know how Srinivasa Ramanujan had a real obsession for mathematics, even to the exclusion of other subjects, to the extent that he failed to gain admission at any university in India. and he became even a dropout without a degree. My question is, how does genius sprout from such an unpromising soil?
In my opinion, genius usually appeared unexpectedly, like earthquake.
All of a sudden.
In China, we had the same one. It's called Hua Luo Gen. I wonder if you heard about him.
Just like you said, it's unexpected because Ramanujan's mother thought that Ramanujan was a godsend because she prayed for him. And even Ramanujan, when he was presenting, he always said that these were messages that he got in his dreams from God. So it's, as you can say, it's unexpected. So you said that Ramanujan came after a very long time. Is there any possibility that we can have another Ramanujan in the future?
Hopefully. Hopefully. And also his mother had another dream, you know, when he was invited by G.H. Hardy.
Yeah.
But at first he was not allowed to go to abroad.
Yeah.
But one day his mother had another dream. He dreamed the goddess said, okay. So he went to Cambridge. And this also unexpectedly. The goddess, she agreed.
You have also written a book on legends of mathematics.
Yes.
How would you rank Ramanujan among all those great mathematicians?
The article I named are using a Chinese special name. It names he's adult, but his mind is still like the junior, the child. We said 未成年. This is the title of the article I described for him.
You see, but surely the major difference between Ramanujan and people like Abel and Galois and others is that these people, they had studied mathematics properly. They'd been taught mathematics properly. They knew what to prove, what they had discovered, etc. But Ramanujan, you know, he was untrained as a mathematician. And he produced a phenomenal amount of work, and he wasn't bothered about proofs and all these things. And this is why these American mathematicians took up to 20 years to go and edit his notebooks. So I think this is a major difference.
George Andrew.
Yes. So would you agree that this is a major difference between Ramanujan and these other mathematicians?
Yeah, this is one of them. But the Chinese mathematician Hua Luo, I mentioned he is only also primary school and secondary school.
Yeah.
And he get no degree, but he's the number one greatest Chinese mathematician in 20th century. And as for the Abel and Galois, they also they didn't went to graduate school, only the university. But
yes, well, that is
so the genius they appear different.
Yeah, because I mean there are not many mathematicians like Ramanujan who have been compared with Euler and Jacobi. You know, Euler and Jacobi are the supreme mathematicians of that time. And as far as I know, only Ramanujan has been compared to these mathematicians. Am I right?
He got the idea and the formula or theorem in his mind. Maybe in his dream. So this is so.
Yeah, you were talking about the pure mathematics being like an art. And Ramanujan's theorems, etc. So, are there any interest still in this type of work of Ramanujan? Are there present-day researchers who are working on this?
First, he invents a formula for the partition. It's numbers to how many ways represented in some of the positive integers. And he had some conjecture on that. After many, many years, the Belgian mathematicians, they proved it.
Okay.
And got the first prize. Got the first prize, yes. And I'm not I didn't like the greatest mathematician made as a contribution like Ramanujan, but I enjoy their work. Very beautiful. Also in automorphic form, he's a pioneer for on the study of the automorphic forms.
Yes, Professor Kai, after so many years of Ramanujan's mathematics and researchers, would you say that his mathematics is still exciting for present-day researchers in mathematics?
Yes, I think so. That's why there's a famous number theory magazine in USA named after him. It's just called the Ramanujan magazine.
Yes.
And published in quarterly. Another example is in Italy, the Fibonacci. Fibonacci, he just invented the rabbit problem. I think many students know the rabbit problems. And there's also a magazine named after him. It's called the Fibonacci Quarterly. But it's not so important as the Ramanujan's magazine, but still published every quarterly. And they publish the articles studied about the rabbit problem.
Professor Kai, do you think that your widespread interest in poetry, essayism, and other things which are non-mathematical have helped you to be a better mathematician?
I have been asked this question before. Yes, in some way, I spend lots of time doing other things. So I maybe write less articles. But in another way, that enlarge my imaginations. So I think I did not many original number theory studies. So this is once also a great mathematician in Cambridge. He won the first prize. His name is Alan Bake. I visited him and he visited my university to me. He once wrote and say my one article about the Warring's problem, another English in the 19th century. He made appraised that it is a truly original contribution to the subject, because I put the additive number theory and multiplicative number theory together. So I call it additive and multiplicative number theory. This is totally new, and my next book on number theory the title is this.
How do you think that Ramanujan's work can be used to help and inspire students to choose a pursuit of mathematics?
In China, we have translated and published the 2 biographies of Ramanujans, and the people, especially the young people, like him very much. I think he is so famous, just like Abel and Galois in China. And many high school students choose mathematics as their major. And in India, as I know, in his hometown Madras, there are 2 physicists win the Nobel Prize. One of them was a teenage when Ramanujan died. And both of them, they say they were inspired by Ramanujan. So I hope among our students in Mauritius, and we'll have another Ramanujan in the near future.
What advice would you give to bright students intending to make a career in mathematics?
Read the legends of the great mathematician like Ramanujan. This is my suggestion. Of course, I don't mean that you will live or study like him, because he is a genius, right? And so we can create our new way to study and to live, and just like mathematics, we have to create our to get a new content. Then you can become then you will become a good mathematician. So not follow the other ones, but the spirit of the great mathematicians, their story will encourage us. So that's why I suggest to read the legends of the great mathematician. And also, I think mathematics is the world language. And if you are a good mathematician, it will help you to travel. If you like to travel, then you have more chance, because it is a world language. So you have lots of chance to communicate. So that's why I encourage me. At that time, when I was young, I don't know the story about Ramanujan, but my teacher said that if you are good, study well on mathematics, then you will have the chance to travel a lot, travel around the world. So that encouraged me a lot.
Right now, most Mauritian students prefer to go for further studies in countries like USA or UK. But given the high quality of your work, do you think that more Mauritian students should be encouraged to undertake further studies in your country, in China?
Yeah, that's a good question. You are interested to go to study in China?
Yes. What?
You are welcome. You know, my university is called Zhejiang University. I think it's the top 3 in China. And we have lots of foreign students. And I have a PhD student from USA. Also, I got many applications, and but mostly from Pakistan or Bangladesh. I think the India student, we don't have many India students. They went to Europe or USA. If you write to a professor in mathematics in the top university in China, and you explain your reasons, for example, you would say something about Ramanujan, then I think the professor will answer you, and if you got a recommendation, you will get a scholarship from the university.
I think what they also wanted to know that our students here, when they go abroad for mathematics, they normally go to the West, to Europe, or maybe America. So I think they would like to know whether they should have an open mind now about maybe going to China.
Yeah, I said we have a scholarship.
In what way, for example, does the teaching in China differ from elsewhere, from the West?
What is it offered differently?
Is there something special, like in the way it is taught? Because I know in Singapore, for example, the top students are from China.
Yes.
So why not our students go to China and study there also, so they can reach that level? Is there something special which differs? Yeah.
We offer the scholarship, right? And the many professors got PhD in the Western countries also. And the level of the research is getting higher and higher, I think. So that's, I said, why I have a PhD student from USA. But
so you would advise our students to
it's
to
and it is maybe more easier to get a scholarship than in the Western countries.
Well, what an interview. Professor Kai, I don't know how to thank you for allowing such an exchange of views. We have thoroughly enjoyed this interview and we feel suitably enriched. Thank you for such an experience. We look forward very much to your memorial lecture on Thursday, and we hope that this audience will be there to listen to you. You're all invited to this award ceremony on Thursday afternoon at the Core Center at Eben. And I thank the three panelists here for their very interesting questions. And my dear students, once again, thank you very much for your participation. Can I thank the MBC for making this program possible? And I would like to thank Mr. Gua, who's the head of production. And thank you all for coming. We enjoyed it very much. Thank you.